Topping today's news, a man shot and killed at a residence on Peach Street. 4 police officers arraigned on extortion charges, Potters Key Dock to get electricity, and a battle between 2 resorts brewing in the Exuma Keys. This is your JCN Evening News. Once again, I'm Jerino Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. A 27-year-old man died last night after he was shot multiple times. The incident also sent a 26-year-old woman to hospital. Police say it happened after 6:30 p.m. The victim arrived at a residence on Peach Street off Montrose Avenue when the occupants of a silver Japanese model vehicle opened fire in their direction before fleeing the scene. This becomes the 6th homicide for 2025. There were 21 homicides in January of 2024. In the capital, 4 men ages 38, another one 38 years old, a 29-year-old, and a 21-year-old, all arrested at Finlayson Street on Thursday morning around 11:30 a.m. when police recovered a loaded firearm and suspected dangerous drugs. Officers searched a group of men that were on a vacant lot where they were gathered. During that search, a loaded firearm and a quantity of suspected marijuana were found. Now, a 23-year-old mother of 3 who had just delivered a baby 4 days earlier was shot to death while sitting in a vehicle on Finlayson Street on Sunday as gunmen targeted 4 men who were standing nearby during a drive-by shooting. Police, though, did not say if the 2 incidents are connected. The Royal Bahamas Police Force continuing to keep their own accountable. 4 police officers were arraigned on Thursday for attempted extortion. Sergeant Nelson Miller, 39 years old, Sergeant D'Angelo Roll, 33, Corporal Chavez Sawyer, 33 years old, and Constable Benson Miller, a 57-year-old, all pleaded not guilty to attempting to extort a suspect who was involved in the $1.4 million armored truck heist at Odyssey Airport in November of 2023. They were each granted bail in the sum of $8,000. They all returned to court in April. Additionally, they were all fired from the police force. The 4 appeared in Magistrates Court number 2 before Magistrate Cara Turnquest DeVoe. Sergeant Roll was also charged with former Chief Superintendent Michael Johnson and Attorney Bijan Ferguson earlier this month in connection to bribery in relation to the armored truck heist. The electrification of stalls on Potters Key Dock began yesterday as a result of the collaborative efforts between the Ministry of Energy and Transport and the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources. On Thursday at Potters Key Dock, Energy Minister JoBeth Kobe Davis said this upgrade will greatly improve the Potters Key Dock experience and safety standards.
We're trying to provide electricity to all of our vendors here at Potters Key Dock. It's been a long time coming. We had a full team out here. We did an assessment. We're going to make sure from Ministry Work standpoint they have all of their permitting, their approvals, their occupancy, their documents are organized. Ministry of Agriculture will be assisting all of the vendors to make sure they have a licensed electrician to complete their work. And once we have those signed off, stamped and approved documents in BPL's hand, we'll be able to power everyone up. And so we're excited that we are able to bring electricity to Potters Key finally and help our vendors to continue to grow and expand their businesses.
Agriculture Minister Jomo Campbell also chimed in, saying the aim is to approach the upgrades one step at a time. Officials say the electrical work is expected to be completed in approximately 6 months. And finally, in this segment, on Wednesday in Parliament, Prime Minister Philip Davis began debate on the second reading and passing of a compendium of 10 bills aimed at making it easier for budding entrepreneurs and business owners to qualify for business loans by introducing legislation that would allow business owners to use assets like machinery, equipment, inventory, accounts receivable, vehicles, and even intellectual property as collateral. Well, opposition member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama and the Shadow Minister of Finance, Kwesi Thompson, says while the opposition supports the bills, it is simply not enough as commercial banks and insurance companies can still dictate terms of agreements.
That while this can potentially increase what can be used for collateral, there is much more, particularly on the actions of the bank, that is required to be done. And I believe the bills miss an opportunity to achieve those things. The government may boast about facilitating easier access to loans and businesses. However, do these bills themselves have the necessary incentives for banks to meaningfully increase lending, especially to the small business sectors? The government has done little to protect Bahamians from businesses. We continue to witness banks in our country pile on more fees and charges on Bahamian customers, while at the same time providing less and less customer service.
Mr. Thompson noted that the F&M has already introduced a plan on banking reforms that can be adopted by the government. One of those recommendations is to have an authority to oversee the banking industry.
The Bahamas should have a financial ombudsman that has a range of enforcement powers and tools to allow it to investigate, powers of cease and desist orders, reprimands such as confidential cautions, or to be able to put reprimand letters and fines in banking and in insurance disputes. So we do have a financial ombudsman, but the financial ombudsman doesn't have the powers that is required to make a meaningful impact. We must give the existing financial ombudsman more power, more teeth, and more independence.
Mr. Thompson said it is essential that the current financial ombudsman be given more power, more teeth, more independence to protect the interest of consumers against unfair practices and policies by banks and insurance institutions. You're listening to JCN News. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back following these commercials.